Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode. Last time we managed to get all the way through Viridian Forest in one quick, swift hit, and we ended up in Pewter City, and I bought some potions, and I felt really super about that. Because this way, you know, don't have to be quite as cautious in everything we do to prevent the deaths of our Pokemon. You guys are watching an episode of my Pokemon Nuzlocke challenge, Pokemon Blue, for Retro Stars. We're just a group of Australian gamers who enjoy gaming, and so we've set up a little channel to post some of our playthroughs and commentaries and etc. on various things. I do believe that a couple of the other members are working on some Minecraft videos at the moment, so you'll be able to look forward to that if Minecraft is something you're interested in. If it's not, too bad. Keep watching Pokemon. So anyway, in this episode we are just doing a little bit of training because we're starting to prep for Brock, the gym leader of Pewter City. So I think in this one we'll just train up against some wild Pokemon on the way, as well as the two trainers in Viridian Forest that we haven't fought, because we fought the one at the end who has the Weedle. To get all the way to Pewter City really quickly. Now, there is one exciting thing. Well, I shouldn't say one exciting thing, but there is a particularly exciting aspect of this video, and that is it will have our first evolution. You can probably guess what it already is, but for the sake of theatrics, I'm not going to reveal it. So, we'll get to that when we get to it. Yes. Now, as I did in the previous video, I'm not really going to be talking too much about what's going on because it's kind of boring. Again, it's just a little bit of, not grinding, but sort of frivolous battles in terms of entertainment value. A lot of metapods, lots of bugs, lots of kind of, well, just uninteresting fights. So I thought I might, as I did last episode, just chat about sort of other games I'm playing and my thoughts on them, and that's probably going to be more interesting to you. And then once we get back into sort of the more strategic element of planning this and gaining new Pokemon and planning things out, I'll speak more of it on that. But just for now, I thought we'd go back to that. Now, I'm just trying to remember before I start on that whether or not I go... I think I just fight the bug catchers here. I don't go back down to Viridian to fight Gary. I think that comes later on. Yes, okay. So now that we've worked that out, what have I been playing? I've been playing a lot of things. Dragon Quest IX is a game I've been playing for quite a few months now. I've sort of extended its time, my time with it, because I got to a point towards, I know I'm towards the end, but I've had to grind a considerable amount, you know, 5-10 levels around about that mark, which I really didn't want to do for quite some time, but now I'm kind of motivated myself to do it. I've actually been very surprised with Dragon Quest IX. It's my first Dragon Quest game, and I'd liken it a lot to the Golden Sun series, which was my first real experience of the RPG genre, and I really enjoyed those games, so that's definitely a good thing. What I mean by that is it's quite accessible, and it doesn't take itself super seriously. I'd say Dragon Quest takes itself less seriously than Golden Sun, which is, I suppose, understandable. Dragon Quest is sort of based on, you know, Japanese manga and the like, whereas Golden Sun does have a pretty solid plot. Not that Dragon Quest IX doesn't, but it's kind of like, you don't really play it for the plot, you play it for the intricacies and stuff. But I'm getting sort of off on a tangent here. Let me bring it back to what I was saying. I was actually surprised that there was pretty much no grind up until this point, and that's about 25 odd hours into the game, towards the end anyway. So I was really happy with that, because that's something that tends to put me off JRPGs like that are really grind heavy, with the exception of probably Phantasy Star, but that's another topic for another day. The only thing I don't really like about Dragon Quest is a lot of the systems that are in place, such as the alchemy system, even the job system to a degree, or class system if you want to call it that, seem a bit frivolous, in that The alchemy system I've really only used to make some potions, because I tend to not actually have any of the ingredients. Well, I have some of the ingredients for some things, but not all of the ingredients for anything. If that makes sense. So I'll have like 2 out of the 3 for this one, 2 out of the 3 for this one, 1 out of the 2 for this one, but I never actually have all the ingredients to actually make anything, which is really irritating, because I really can't be bothered finding out where the ingredients are, going and farming the ingredients. It's just a waste of time, really. It's adding to, you know, all the time you might be spending gaining experience, and you're not even guaranteed to gain a good amount of experience if you do that, because you probably have to go somewhere where the enemies are really weak, so you're not even going to get that much experience. So I'm not fond of the alchemy system. The other thing I'm not fond of, as I said, was the class system. I've seen the benefits of it with my main character, who has changed professions 3 times. Originally a minstrel, then a thief, and now finally a warrior, because I've realised that thieves aren't really that helpful endgame. Because you don't really need to steal anything, and you really don't need things that can... Well, see, it's useful mid-game, because you can there's a weapon called the Assassin's Dagger, which can one-hit kill things, but that doesn't work on bosses. It'd be ridiculous if it did. So what you really need is someone who can take hits and deal hits, hence warrior. Anyway, as I was saying, with the exception of him, I haven't really felt the need to change the classes of my other characters, because the thing is, when you change class, you go back down, your character goes back down to level 1. They retain all the skill points you invested in the other class, but they still go back to level 1, so you have to train them all the way back up. So, for example, my other 3 party members, excluding my main character, are all about level 32. My main character is about 20, because I had to raise him up. And, I mean, yes, he's quite powerful, because he already had a fair bit invested in his sword skill from being a thief. But, you know, it's a bit odd. I'm not really fond of it. But the thing is, I don't have to use it, so that's good. So I'm really enjoying that. I'm getting close to the end of that now, now that I'm getting over this grinding part of it, which I'm not a fan of grinding, if you can't tell. I just want to comment a bit on what I've been doing with Bulbasaur, if you've been paying attention to that and not listening to me, or if you've been somehow multitasking, doing both, which you probably have been. You see I use Leech Seed a lot. Leech Seed is awesome, and I'm actually really glad I have a Bulbasaur because of Leech Seed. How good is it having Leech Seed? It just makes everything so much easier, especially when you're doing some of the more difficult fights. In the next episode I'll be fighting the rival, Blue. I think I called him Blue in this. I'll be fighting him, and you'll see how much I use it. It's a godsend. It makes everything easier. I've also started playing Resident Evil 5, which I never got back when it was released. I think it was released in 2009, but I never really had much interest in it. Recently I played Resident Evil Revelations, which is a fantastic 3DS game. So if you have a 3DS, I highly recommend picking that up. It's fantastic. You don't need the Circle Pad Pro, it works fine without it, believe me. And it's definitely one of the best games on the system. Certainly one of the best I've played. But yes, that's sort of gotten me back into the Resident Evil series, so I thought I'd get Resident Evil 5. And I'm enjoying it. It's quite good. Got it for PC, so, you know, running it on some really good specs. And it looks good. I was worried that it wouldn't really have much tension, but it actually does, especially, there's a part quite early on in the game where you go into some mines. It actually felt reminiscent of Revelations, which is good. I think it's not... The whole game as a whole isn't really as good as Revelations is in that aspect, or even Resident Evil 4, but it's still early doors, and I like what I've seen so far, so I'm pretty happy with that. What else have I been playing? I've kind of gone off Dark Souls recently, just because I just want a break for it. I've managed to do what I think is about an eighth of the game, and I've done the first, like, main quest, which is... It's not a spoiler, because if you've played, like, the tutorial, you'll know. The first main quest is to ring these 2 bells, so I've done that. After fighting some very scary enemies. But still a wonderful game. Now here we have the evolution. I hope you haven't minded that I've rambled on about other games. I just thought it would be a bit more entertaining than speaking about this boring sort of part of the game I'm going through at the moment. But yes, we have a Metapod. Evelyn has evolved. And I will see you guys next time. Peace out.